There was a time when the word budget made me want to hide under the covers. Finances felt intimidating, confusing, and honestly, like something someone else should handle. But what I've learned is this: avoiding money is the fastest way to stay powerless. This week, we're talking about reclaiming your financial voice, even if you've been afraid of numbers your whole life. For years, I was terrified of taking ownership of my financial situation. And I've heard this so many times with so many women. If you are just like me, that is terrified of opening up your bank accounts and just taking a look, I'm talking to you, because what I am about to share with you today could completely change the way that you show up in your business, your relationships, and your life, and allow you to take your destiny, take your dreams by your hands, and fully go for it without holding yourself back a moment more. Many, many years ago, when my twins were a year and a half, almost 2 years old, I remember having a conversation with my Al-Anon mentor / sponsor at the time, at which point I was complaining. I was a stay-at-home mom with my twins, and my now ex-husband was the primary breadwinner in the relationship. And I'd taken some time off to be a stay-at-home mom with the kids. And I was complaining about how I wanted to spend money on XYZ. I can't even tell you what it is today. And that, I wish that there was more money, or I wish that he was more okay with me spending the money, and so on and so forth. And I think some of you women may be able to relate to what I'm talking about here. At which point she gave me some advice, and this is the same advice I've repeated many, many times to my now 13-year-old twins. She said, Karishma, you have two choices. Option one, you accept what is and you're okay with it fully. Or option B, you become empowered to take action and to make a change yourself. At which point she asked me, so Karishma, what are you going to do about it? And frankly, this was not the response that I was hoping from my mentor at the time. And I was frankly taken aback. As I sat with it more, it came to me, oh my God, she has a point. I've been sitting here complaining, and I've been sort of a victim in my financial situation, but I have done nothing, no action to help support the financial situation. I'm just sitting here bickering about what it is and what I think it should be. And this anecdote here is such gold, because I'm here to tell you, and I've seen this, the reason why we're talking about this today is lack of financial literacy, lack of financial education, lack of financial ownership is one of the biggest reasons women stay stuck. It is one of the biggest reasons women stay stuck in their W-2s that they can't stand. It is the number one reason that women stay stuck and not going for their dreams as entrepreneurs, and it is one of them anymore, especially when you're talking about toxic or significantly abusive relationships. And let's talk about what it looks like to really take ownership of this financial piece today. And it was so fascinating because last Thursday evening, I'm sitting there, I'm talking to a couple of girlfriends, one that was recently widowed and her husband had died of cancer less than a year ago. And she talked about how when he died, she had no choice but to take ownership fully of her financial situation. And I can tell you as a divorcee, that is the same case for me. Life made me take full ownership and accountability of my financial situation. And we were talking about why women don't go for their dreams, why women sort of hold themselves back. And, my friend, the widow, was talking about her VC circle. So she's in these venture capitalist groups where some of these women have really deep pockets and they have no hesitation in writing out 50K checks for charities, take 50K checks to fund these venture capitalist funds. But when it came to putting money on their own marketing, their own brand, and that is what she does for a living, these women would have excuses. And inevitably, they would say, I need to ask permission from my husband. And the word permission really reached out to me or stung with me, because this word permission is something that I know I thought I needed for many, many years. And in working with over 120, 130 entrepreneurs now the last 5 years, in having 500 plus sales calls the last 5 years, this word permission is one that I would hear my female clients, when they're all in, they know they want the coaching, they know the coaching would support them, they're all in with all of the logistics, all the dynamics, but the only thing at the end would be, I need to talk to my husband and ask permission. and ask permission. And what's appalling is in all these sales calls, less than 10% or 15% of my male clients would say, I'm going to talk to my wife about this and just let her know that this is what we're doing, versus the women asking for specifically the word permission from their husband, at which point I would coach them that, is this something that you need? Is this something that you want? Is it something that will support you and fuel your life, fuel your growth, fuel your families, allow you to step into the destiny that you want? Or is it something that isn't that important to you? And that the permission would elicit some coaching so they actually had the ability to ask for their hopes and dreams. My third friend sitting across from me at the happy hour, who is a very successful corporate woman, talked about how in her world, in her life, and even with her female counterparts, corporate counterparts, we're looking for validation, and which stirred upon another conversation about validation from whom. You see, with women in society, we're taught that our value is only good if your value is good. My value as a wife is only good if my husband's good, if my kids are good, if everybody's good, my household's good, my kids are doing great, they're sound academically, my marriage is sound academically, and it's all based on the success or something else outside of me being good. And see, that's the problem. Society has conditioned us that our worth isn't there, that our value isn't there, that our value and our worth is based on something outside of us versus something that's really within us. And what I'm here to tell you is this ownership of our financial literacy, this ownership of our financial well-being is so, so huge. And I'm going to talk about why that is. And I'm going to talk about what specifically to do about it today. Why that is. First of all, knowledge is power. My sisters that are listening to me, I'm here to tell you, knowledge is power. If the idea of looking at your bank statements, the idea of looking at your spreadsheets, the idea of looking at your expenses is so overwhelming to you, and that was me true, trust me, I can completely relate to that. I'm here to tell you that knowledge is power. And what it takes is one action consistently. Okay, one action consistently. Ask yourself some questions. How are my bills getting paid? What bank balance or what bank account is paying for these bills? Taking some time, maybe a couple of hours a month, and just going through your bank statement, printing it out, old school, highlighting the things that don't seem right? Those auto pays. Maybe there was an auto pay that you started 2 years ago on some subscription that you thought you had to have. And then you realize today, oh my God, I don't even remember what that is. And it's not important, but really taking ownership of this is so, so important. And I can tell you, when I stepped into my divorce, I was terrified because I had a mortgage. I got the house, and all of a sudden I had a car that I had payments going out. I had no idea how much my payments were, what my insurance providers were for my house, for my car, for anything, what my medical situation was. I had no idea about anything. And it was beyond overwhelming. And so taking that ownership piece, one thing at a time, can truly allow you to step into your power and really help you become accountable. And if nothing else, I hope you walk away with this word, accountability, because we're going to talk about this word today, accountability and ownership. So again, knowledge is power. Be curious about where your money is coming in from and where your money is going from. For my clients that I've helped with their businesses in coaching, I always tell them, what is your needle moving activity? Where are you spending your time? Where are you spending your money? Where are you spending your resources? Either the things should come into your account that help you grow. Your time and energy should be spent on what allows you to grow your bank account, or you should be fixating what helps save you money on your bank account. And I'm not talking about getting support on your businesses and getting help. That's not what I'm talking about here. But taking ownership, and I'll give you an example. My boyfriend was looking through expenses for one of our assets that he owns, that he's a general partner for, and taking the time and energy and spending 2-3 hours and looking through bank statements, he was able to see that the trash bill was $5,000+ per month on an apartment complex, where it could easily be half of that. Taking that couple of hours of his Friday last week could very well save over, do the math, $2,500 times 12 months, upward of $25,000 to $30,000 in the next month alone, just based on trash. How empowered are you to just take some time and just go through what is yours, your expenses that are yours. And this empowerment is so important. So number one is knowledge is power. Two is everything in your bank balance sort of making you money, or things in your life fueling you, helping you grow? And are you also cutting back on things that aren't serving you anymore? The second reason that this is really important is communication in relationships. And I know for me in my marriage, oh my God, that financial situation piece, talking about statements, talking about bank balances, talking about budgeting created so much friction because I wasn't willing to go there. I wasn't willing to go there every time as the primary spender in our relationship, and I'm owning it. Every conversation about budgeting felt like a blame game where it was about Karishma spending too much. But what I didn't realize is that this conversation about money could be a beautiful opportunity for us to collaborate, could be a beautiful opportunity to grow. And I'm going to give an example about this. And I'm going to talk about men for a second. I had a client a few years ago, and his name is Eric. And Eric, found out that his wife, there was a credit card bill that came in, and most of the credit card bills he took ownership of. For some reason, this one credit card was created by his wife, and all of a sudden there was $15,000 to $20,000 on this credit card bill that he wasn't even aware of. And we had spent the last 6 months helping him learn how to make more money on his business, step into becoming a CEO of his business. He's still working a lucrative W-2 job at the time, and learning how to make money on his business, in his business, without him working in the business directly. So truly stepping up as a CEO, being empowered, all the things. We spent 6 months helping him make more money, get time freedom, get peace of mind, get lifestyle freedom. All of a sudden, boom, there's a $20K bill. And what happened was really fascinating because it really gave me insight on the male psychology. Eric, what he did was he went into what men do, which was figure it out mode. And he completely shut down. And because in his household, his wife and him did not have open discourse about finances and money and budgeting. And basically, she was exactly the way I was, frankly, before my divorce, where it was like conflict. He was like, Karishma, I don't want to confront her. And he went into a deep depression. And he was like, oh my God, how am I going to pay this $20K bill off with all these other financial burdens, all these other bills and responsibilities that they both had at the time? And he went right into coming into a shell, completely shutting down. And over the next 6 to 8 weeks, he went into a very, very deep depression. And thankfully, he had help. Thankfully, he had support to get out of it. And one of the biggest actions that he was coached to take was, frankly, to start having an open conversation with his wife and just really allowing her to come into the safe place and helping him kind of coach him to step into his power, stepping into his voice, where he was able to start speaking up and start allowing the space for openness in that conversation with his wife. And he was so amazed because for 2 months, he'd gone to that deep depression, had gotten to that deep shell, and he went into, oh my God, into figure this out mode. And I'm not a part of a team. I'm not part of a partnership to really talk about this, where boom, all of a sudden they're both sitting on the same side of the table. He's showing up as a partner. He's showing up as a friend. And he's saying, babe, this is what I saw. What are we going to do about it? And you see the way I asked it, there was no charge. There was no emotion. It was a very nonchalant, what are we going to do about it? Because it's about we, it's not about me. And for those of you that are women and you're the primary spender, just like I was in my marriage, I'm here to tell you that these transactions in your life are really about we, not about me. And coming in and taking ownership of your financial situation can be a beautiful bridge, can be a beautiful way for both of you to come together and really collaborate and show your man, I'm with you on this. I'm with you in this. And this is my battle too. This is my thing too. So number 2, taking financial ownership of your financial literacy will help boost your relationship and actually help you be more effective as a couple, more effective in your financial piece. The third piece, and I'm going to talk about energy for a second, is what you focus on grows. What you focus on grows. And as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, if you focus on paying attention to your finances, paying attention to your employees, paying attention to your business, guess what? What you focus on will grow because you're putting love into it. You're putting energy into it. When you, as a woman, start taking ownership of your financial literacy, when you start taking and focusing on your dreams will grow. Your actions into your dreams will grow. And I'm here to tell you that we must reframe this word selfish, because focusing on you isn't selfish. Focusing on you is self-love. If you are the woman in the relationship and you are contributing, doesn't your action matter? Don't your hopes and dreams matter? When you feel good in your body, when you feel good in your financial health, won't that money that you make, won't that be used for the upliftment of your children and the upliftment of your family's financial situation? When you start taking ownership of your health, won't you feel good, physically well? And now you'll have the energy to put into your families, into your kids, and start showing up from that space of newfound confidence. And won't that energy take you farther when it comes into getting those raises or asking for a seat at the table and walking to the rooms with other people that have more money than you and saying, you know what? I am capable too. And I'm here to tell you, a lot of times we tell ourselves we're not enough. We tell ourselves we don't have what it takes. And one of the biggest reasons that most of my previous clients had signed up with me was because they desired certainty, they desired confidence, they desired focus. And I'm here to tell you, those are not things that you can buy in a grocery store. Those are things that you have to cultivate within yourself. And how do you cultivate those within yourself? You start noticing what you're spending your energy, your time, and focus on. Are you spending energy and time on things that lift you up? Are you spending time and energy on things that bolster your self-confidence? Maybe it's a workout at the gym. Maybe it's a podcast just like this, where it's about owning your power. Are you putting time and energy, knowledge is power, into things that can help build your bank account, build your skill set, build your hopes and dreams? Are you putting energy and time with people that are going to help boost you up, not put you down? And if you're not, perhaps you need new friends. And I'm not here to tell you I'm not here to criticize you. I'm just here to be your mirror and say, are these situations, are these things in your life there to fully lift you up and to empower you? Because you may see, my friends, one of the biggest reasons that women often stay in toxic relationship, abusive relationships, is because they're scared. And they're scared because they think they're not going to make it. They're afraid of what happens if that safety net of the marriage is cut off, the safety net of the financial situation is cut off. But what if your safety net was you? I thought for years my safety net was what? In my bank balance? My safety net was in my marital status? And I'm here to tell you that building me up from the inside one day at a time is what allowed me to step into my power, is what allowed me to step into my path, is what allowed me to have the courage to say no to people, places, things, situations, programs that didn't serve me, and allowed me to start creating that skill set of discernment where I could step into who I really was and who I was meant to be. So for today, ask yourself, am I staying a victim? Or am I taking action, empowered action into this? And instead of being scared, embrace that fear. I know that fear is strong sometimes, but embrace that fear within you and tell yourself, I have what it takes. I have what it takes to live my life. I have what it takes to conquer my financial situation. I have what it takes to live my dreams. And what's amazing is, my friend, you are the legacy. When you take ownership of your financial literacy, you take ownership of your dreams, you take actions that are aligned to your hopes and dreams, I'm here to tell you, your daughter is watching you. Your sister is watching you. Your mother is watching you. Your girlfriend's watching you. And people are watching you. And you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. But how we change the course of everybody around us is when we finally have the courage to step into our path. We tell ourselves, I have what it takes to do this. We conquer our fears head on. And we take one bold action every single day to step into that empowered version of ourselves, the one who's able to handle her financial situation, the one who's an equal partner in her budgeting conversations, and the one who has courage to really take a seat at that table, because that seat has always been there for you, sister. It's time for you to claim it today. Have a beautiful week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.